we got to turn our attention to a couple of games yesterday that tipped off before the NFL championship weekend. That was Michigan and Michigan State, both going on the road. The Maize and Blue went to Penn State. The Izzo kids went to Mackey Arena, and it's not too long ago on this very show, my overall excitement, jubilation for both of these programs, the time where I said that college basketball ran through the state of Michigan. You guys remember that? I remember it. That's all I was thinking about. Oh, really? Yeah, I said that. It felt good at the time. COVID 2021, like it felt good at the time. That, hey, we got some good things brewing here. These teams are on the up and up. Here they come. Watch out now. Where do you want to start? You want to start with my team or your team?
Let's start with Michigan since they technically tipped off like 20 minutes before State.
All right. Michigan goes to Penn State, and they gave up 50 points in the first half. 49-32 was your score at the end of the first half. No one can make a three outside of Jet Howard in that ball game. Makes you wonder, oh, man, I sure wish he was available when they played Purdue. Hunter Dickinson had 6 points and 2 rebounds in the game because of an absolute blitz, drawing all defenders' attention the second he looked at receiving the basketball. Nobody else could do diddly squat. Jet was the only one that could put the biscuit in the basket. For some reason, Will Cheddar only played 5 minutes in the ball game. I don't know why Will Cheese is not playing getting any time. I have no idea. I feel like a parent right now. I can't figure it out, but it wouldn't surprise me, and I saw a lot of this on Twitter yesterday. If he transfers, I don't think that should surprise anyone. He doesn't do anything really great except for bring a lot of effort. He's a little bit more valuable offensively. He could score the basketball a little bit better than Jace Howard, who played 18 minutes.
So those were your two guys that were net positives throughout the game.
Everybody else was a giant minus in the old plus minus. Still trying to figure out exactly how it's applicable.
But I can understand some Michigan fans' frustration over Will Cheddar, even though, again, how significant of a player he is, you don't know.
Because he never plays.
But your team is 11-10, so let's find out.
Let's find out. And recently, the NIT discussion was brought to my attention. I wouldn't even play in it. I wouldn't even take the invitation. Like, hey, hit the road, go recruiting, 1, 2, 3 Cancun, all that. Like, I wouldn't take it, me personally, because there's no positives that can come out of it. All you can do is lose and be like, you can't even win 2 games in the NIT. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even, to me, it's not even worth it, personally.
I mean, no offense to what I'm about to say, but
we might not even get into that.
Yeah,
you could say it. You can't offend me. You can't offend me.
I want to come off as,
that
guy.
Be that guy.
No, because there's still one game. There's
stink.
Still one game left to play between Michigan and Michigan State. So I will hold off all comments on Michigan basketball that I truly feel until that game is played, if it goes one way.
Why? Even if somehow Michigan threw a ball off the Jumbotron, it bounces then off the shot clock and goes in to beat Michigan State. We all know the reality of the situation. This is not a good basketball team. They're not good. Like, I don't know what else to really say about them. Like, Hunter Dickinson can't play 23 minutes and go for 6 and 2 and 3 assists. That doesn't work. You're 6 of 22 from 3. You got one guy, Jet, who's 5 of 7. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this. Jet can't go left. He cannot go left. Every play is set up for him on the left wing, and if he catches the ball on the right wing, he's going baseline. I guarantee it. I'll bet you everything I got. He just doesn't go left. Doug, the floater.
But
the
how
baby
do you
floater
get to
struggled.
that level and you can't use
Because
your
you're better
left
than everybody. I mean, you're 6'7", and you could shoot it. Like, I mean, you're just better than everybody that you play against as a kid. But yeah, that left hand that's a concern. That's a huge concern. You're not just going to learn to fix that overnight.
You're right. But if your, professional athlete father was saying, hey, you're better than everybody with your right hand, you should just try and play with your left hand for a few games, it would all been fine.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But this team is, 6 of 22 from 3. Stop shooting it. Get to the basket. You only shot 8 free throws in the whole game. And the big difference here, and this is a Penn State team that Michigan beat earlier in the year. This Penn State team is old. Everybody on their roster is over the age of 23. It's crazy. And this wildly, wildly inconsistent to come out there and have a 5-point loss to the number 1 team in the country, Purdue, and then to respond or not respond at all is troublesome.
And this Penn State team reminds me kind of like early Beeline teams of like everyone can shoot a 3 and it's live or die. Like they just kind of have that feeling just set up of just like don't leave them open. Don't let them get in a rhythm or they'll drop 50 in the first half and not seem unconscious from beyond the arc. Because the second half, it seemed like they weren't making any shots. But they already had a 20-point lead at half against Michigan, who's, I don't know their offensive rankings. They're just not good offensively.
They're not as bad. Like, dude, when you think about it, I'm like, oh, Michigan's got to be like bottom of the Big Ten in offensive efficiency. They're really not that bad. Like, they're ranked in the top half of the conference, which to me is just preposterous. But, I mean, you give up 50, at some point it's a pride thing. And then in the early stages of the second half, I'm like, this is embarrassing. That's what this is. This is bad. And rightfully so. Michigan fans are irate. They've taken their pitchforks to the Twitterverse, and they've gone mad. And then the Izzo kids travel to Mackey. Take on Zach Edey and those pesky 7-footers. They got another 7-footer hanging out, too, by the way.
How much does he weigh?
He's big. He's Isaac Harms big. Big. Is that was his name, right? No.
Isaac Haas.
Isaac Haas. And the other kid was what was the Harms kid's first name? He was the thinner, tall
Matt
version.
Harms?
Maybe. He was Isaac Haas's like little brother. Both were 7 feet tall.
Yeah, but Harms weighed like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And tried to play on the 3-point line.
3 bills. This kid is from Stockholm, Sweden, and he is an absolute monster.
NCAA, first off, investigate Matt Painter just to see where his farm is. I'm just a little tired of that.
Was Tom Izzo upset over a lack of
I don't know.
3 seconds from Zach Edey? Is that what I saw?
I don't know. Like, I saw the Spike Ulbrich tweet, but I don't know who that original tweet was from. So I don't know. But, yeah, Purdue legend Spike Ulbrich, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, other than that, I had no hope going into this game. Like, you lose by Purdue 1 at home. It's like, okay, and you needed a 30-point performance from your guard to keep up. It doesn't solve the issue of you still can't guard Zach Edey because you have no one that can match up with him.
Does anybody? I mean, he gave
Hunter
the business.
But still, Hunter can at least
stand there.
Where it's like, Zach Edey can just breathe and just, move, take a half step and just be right under the basket. And it's like, if you're not keeping up, Joey Hauser going scoreless in the first half. Like, you can't have that when you need to keep up with Purdue because they can just keep feeding the post and keep building a lead. Like, you can't have these lulls because when Zach Edey was out, for sure Michigan State was probably a plus 15 overall.
Incredible. I had tweeted to DK, our boy Spartan Hoops DK, and I was like, hey, if any, I forgot what his tweet was about, what was going on in Mackey. I said, you should see what's happening in Happy Valley right now. He's like, that's my only consolation to this game. I was like, bro, this is a disastrous day for the state of Michigan basketball. And thank God you guys have A.J. Hoggard.
Yeah, and I think he just needed to realize quicker. It's like, dude, you can take these guards, challenge Edey. Because, look, Zach Edey was called for 3 fouls in the game, which, by the way, Purdue fans booing and getting upset over foul calls. Their one player was complaining about a foul that was called on him. It was Purdue's second foul of the game 19 minutes into the game, and they're complaining.
They're fundamentally sound, Ryan. They don't foul anybody. By the way, Edey in the box only had 2.
Oh, 2.
So who knows? Maybe that was one of those where he's around the play and they charge it to somebody else. I've seen that happen.
Say he did elbow Jackson Kohler in the face, and it was a foul on Kohler for standing there.
He's in the cylinder, right? Is that what they said? They gave this motion.
It wasn't like a hard elbow. It was just like the one time Zach Edey's elbows came above someone's shoulder, and then the arms got tangled up. They said watching Zach Edey, like, as much as he doesn't get foul calls, like, watching him, like, he keeps those elbows low and tight. He does play a very clean game.
He gets beat up too,
right? And he
takes
does
a pounding. I had asked one official who was at he's a Big Ten and MAC official, and I just asked him, I said, how do you officiate Zach Edey? And he's like, it's impossible. Because every time he touches the ball, he's taking more contact than anybody else. And you could literally call a foul every single play. But you can't call a foul because he's that big. But then what happens when he actually does get fouled? He's like, so how exactly are you going to officiate somebody who's that much bigger than everybody else on the court? It's like what Shaq used to go through. Shaq used to get beat up in the post because he could take it, and you're not going to be able to move him. So you just dig in, and as he tries to dribble and back you down, what are you going to do? You're just going to be, you're just trying to form a wall right there and act like a concrete median, right? You put your forearm in his lower back, and you just try to absorb every time he takes a dribble and bounces back into you. Let's get to the Meijer Supercenter guest line. That's where Dave in Hudsonville is at. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, B, how you doing, man? So,
oh, man, what a weekend.
I tell you, on the state of basketball, though,
bad.
It's becoming pretty clear a little bit that you're right, Michigan is bad. And a couple different things. First of all, Juwan Howard has not developed a point guard since he's been there. It's almost like what Harbaugh had with quarterback until McCarthy got there.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been transfer guys. There's nobody at point guard that you can look to and said Juwan Howard recruited him. He's been our point guard in that regard. And Michigan cannot score the basketball. Yeah, Jett Howard can shoot a little bit, but he's still erratic. And then after that, there's nobody who is a threat. And so then, you're going to get people doing what they did to Dickinson yesterday. What you saw yesterday from Penn State, too, was almost the new brand of college and NBA basketball, rim 2s and 3s. That's statistically now the metrics, like Moneyball, what teams try to do. And when Penn State shoots like that, they have like NBA guards. And when those guys get hot, all of a sudden, they're not 2s, they're 3s, and the difference adds up in a hurry. And when they got hot like that, that's what happens. And like Jace Howard's a MAC player. So, I mean, that's where he should be. It's almost like where Foster Loyer was in Michigan State, or the other kid from Clarkston before they had to go and so forth. So the state of Michigan basketball is not healthy right now. Michigan State is a very tough team mentally. They have good guards, so they can play with people. And they always talk about in the tournament, when you have good guards, you can compete. It's too bad that Foster, I'm a Spartan, but it's too bad Dickinson doesn't play for Michigan State, because if Dickinson was on Michigan State, it'd be a top 10 team. That's the piece that Michigan State is missing. They've always had really solid post players, but right now they're missing that other big post, and next year they get their best recruiting classes those ever had. But there's a hole in the post for Michigan State, and you can take Hauser away really easily because he's not very athletic. But they can. Michigan State's just tougher and better, but they're still Michigan State's probably a 15 to 25 team when they're playing well. Maybe closer to 10 when they get like Kentucky or something else.
I don't disagree with any of that, Dave. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Howard's in a point now where I don't think he knows kind of what to do sometimes. It just looks like They're going out almost like an NBA season. You don't know what you're going to get, like watching the Pistons, in that regard. Because Dickinson can't do it by himself at all. He can't create his own shots, but they don't have enough outside people to give any spacing for Dickinson to let him play.
Yeah, I'd say the only other guy that can really create his own is Kobe Buffkin. And
yeah, Buffkin, you're right. Buffkin's a nice piece. It was fool's gold the other night with Purdue because Purdue controlled that game the whole second half. Joey Baker banks in a three, and then Edey turns one over with a minute and a half to go, and then Edey misses 2 free throws. That was easily a 10 to 12 or 13-point game.
Oh, I mean, they run a 15-0 run over, or 15-2 run over 4:55, I think. Like these scoring droughts have to stop. It's just everything is so stagnant. You'll watch, there's a couple of early actions in Michigan's offense to get the ball to where they want it to go, and then it's a lot of standing around. There's no movement on the back third of the court. You split the court into threes. When you're looking at it, so your paint is your middle third, and then you have your right third and your left third. The ball's on the right wing. Everybody on the left side of the floor is just standing around. No one's ever going to screen away to try to create a shot for anybody else. And it doesn't matter if you create a shot for somebody else because they don't shoot it well enough. Like plain and simple, they have no shooting.
Michigan State will get in the tournament. People won't want to play them because of Izzo and how hard they play in their guards. And they might win a couple games, but they've just got a hole in the post. Sissoko works hard, but Madi's a 2. He's a guy who you share posts with. So when they get their when Izzo, it'll be interesting next year when Shears and Booker and these guys get in next year. It's going to be interesting because Michigan State's going to reload. And Malik Hall's been hurt, so we'll see what happens. But State can develop into a good team, but who can come up and bite you and do that. But right now, I tell you, they're not. Michigan's in the latter third of the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's exactly where they're at. They're in the bottom third of the standings. David Hudsonville, appreciate the call this morning, my friend. Sorry, I'm so disheveled and disappointed. I don't even know what to say.